Okay. Both players are playing really solidly right now. So it seems okay. So White's going on defense. Black's playing rook to g, big queen to f8. It seems White wants to trade. He trade there on e5. Rook already played. I don't know what's going on. Everyone's just moving too quickly. It was much harder than I expected. So we have is taking a free knight. Black is rook g4, taking the open file. Black's attack is very strong. White is going on defense. I think White here is playing pretty passively, but there could be a comeback. I mean, you never know what will happen in tournaments. And yes, there's opposite side castlings. I think in this position, Black could at some point play a rook on e8 to g8, and that would be a very interesting move. White is now Black is now marginally better. White seems to be running out of pieces here. G1. They take. No, you can't do that. Unfortunately, luckily this is an unrated tournament, so you cannot do that. We are technically allowing this, although according to FIDE standards, that would automatically been a win for Black. Now White trades the queen for the bishop and is up a lot of material. I think Black is definitely dominated the position. It's very interesting to see how they're doing this. I mean, I am not able to see the clock from here, but I do know that Black playing it a little passively. I think board 1 is very close to. I mean, there's just a hanging knight that looks like a hanging knight. I mean, this is very interesting. I know no one's watching this right now, but I think eventually someone will. This is my first time commentating, so I am not very good at this. I mean, but then the knight is hanging. That looks like it's hanging. They finally realized that the knight was straight up hanging, and then they take the bishop. Now the rook is under attack. He must defend that rook. Very good. Unfortunately, the bishop falls. Black is in a very good position. I think they may be able to checkmate in a couple moves. They may be even able to sacrifice a lot of material and still be up a lot in the endgame. It seems that this is a clear win for Black. And yeah, I mean, this has been a rather quick game than expected. This is the first round after all, so we are doing a bunch of random pairings. Yeah. That is checkmate. And that is checkmate. That is checkmate on board 1 with a queen rook battery. Sorry about that. Let's go back to the tournament. Let's take a look at the tournament standings real quick. Let's take a look at the tournament standings. Taking a look at the tournament standings, we have 4 victories already that have been set. I think at this pace, this is a very interesting standings. I mean, this is still the first round. We do not expect any draws considering the level, but it's not like it's impossible to happen. We will update this once in a while. I personally will be on break, so I will. I mean, these are the top standings. Very interesting. There are 4 people in the lead at the moment, so that means we still have 4 games left to go. It is 14 minutes into the round, so we may be heading into a first. Let's double check the standings now. We do see that we got a half point here. This is a draw by stalemate, which is very interesting. Hopefully, next one I can keep up because everyone was playing Blitz in that round, and I did not ready for that. So I will go back to the live which
everyone, that concludes round one. We'll start the next round on 2:30. So 2:30. We'll start the next round at 2:30. So please hold action by
We're gonna commentate here.
Yeah. The screen's frozen because of Andy's Chromebook over there not even turning on. Yeah. It's actually
Wait,
live.
what's that? Why do you have?
Those are the cameras commentating.
Wait, why is your chess page?
This, so I can commentate which moves like
Oh.
Stockfish. Like what Stockfish prefers. Like that's what most commentators do. They have like a tutorial.
Are you gonna do it in English or Japanese?
Probably English. Okay. Hold on. It seems we have some sort of position that's here. Knight develops. There's seems there's some sort of with e4, e5, some sort of d5, d6, d4, knight g4, some sort of position. Where Black's bishop went all the way over. Some sort of disposition. And then some sort of bishop takes knight takes. Wow, this game is really, really fast. Oh, whoops. My bad. Queen takes knight g. Some sort of weird position here. There was some sort of wait. All those pieces are there. How the heck are all those pieces up? Oh my. What is. Okay, it goes here. Wow, that is a fast game. I cannot catch up with that. I cannot catch up. It seems that there's a pawn here and there's a pawn here. This is not reflective on moves. The knight jumped here. Knight, bishop. Knight. Seems this is a rather interesting position with those pieces literally laying castles. Bishop g4. I mean, in this position, I guess we can do so it seems there's been opposite side castling, g5 that weakens, and that actually just straight up hangs the pawn. which is very interesting. The battle stage seems to be more focused on seems to be focused more on the queen side. In this position, white's down a seems white's down a pawn. Sorry, I meant black's down a pawn in this position. They need to and then there's down 2 pawns. It's like a lot. There seems to be a very intense game going on. I think, in my opinion, black should probably, yep, that was what I was thinking, although that does expose to some sort of check, which is very dangerous. Probably should move the rook on the f. Black should probably move their f rook over to something like their d file. They could also white in this position is their pieces are in a very interesting position. They decided to trade off pieces there, it seems. And then I think white is down black is down 2 pawns in this position. They definitely should move their rook. Yep, they definitely did move their rook over to the open file. Black should ignore that. Take the pawn on h5. Once they take the pawn on h5, their bishop's under attack. Then black will have to move their bishop back, and then white may be able to maintain a pin. Instead, white trades, giving black the open file, which is very scary. Not that I'm very high rated, and I'm like maybe 1500 or so at best, but I do think there needs to be there's a lot of pieces being hung here, and then the pieces take. White can actually just take with the pawn. Takes. There can be takes, and then white has takes with check. King has to move, and then rook h8 mate. No, there's just king f8, rook h8 mate, and that is GG. Or yeah, they can sack their queen. But then there's immediately rook h4 check. Good game. Scores being taken at the moment. I will bring up the standings really quickly soon. I'll add the tournament standings onto the screen now. Let's see. We now have one person in the lead. That was the game we just saw, I believe. And we'll see how this keeps going. I mean, the other boards, probably half of them will win and half of them will lose for board one. The same with the ones with tie. We're probably going to have a huge. There's going to be a lot of people stuck at one point, I think, after this. This was a very interesting game with I think black opened their position out too much, and They shouldn't have moved their pieces that many times. And then there was a lot of blundering of pieces, and yeah. However, I do think that was a decent game. They did hang upon their H pawn. Black did hang their H pawn. That's very close to the king, and that kind of ultimately ended up in a downfall after a lot of trades on the queen side. Insightful. Very insightful. I will probably go back and do the. Oh, and seems we have another game that just finished over on that side, so that's going to be interesting. And that's really interesting. That's going to be fun. We do have 4 more rounds after this, so we cannot say somebody has a huge lead at the moment for sure. But this is very fun to watch so far. So, and then that will be interesting. That being said, I know I'm talking to no one at the moment, but I think afterwards we're probably going to revisit all the number 1 matches and probably compile a sort of like a digest video, like a highlight video or something, and that's going to be really fun. I was not able to catch up with the moves, unfortunately, but that was it. Interesting. Going back to the live, we do see that. Oh, sorry, my bad. If we move over to the live, we do see that board 2 is still playing, but most of the is still. I think a lot of people have just finished their game. Yep, we do have a couple of new 2s there. That is interesting. We do have quite a lot of games left, so I'll go there and I'll be right back. So anyways, I'll just be right back. This is a live. I'll just switch back to this board. It seems board 2 has just finished. Maybe I'll go after they recorded the scorings for this. Let's see what the score results were. We can probably check to see here. It seems Black has won this game. That was interesting. We can probably look at it later. We can look over the game later through the eyes of board 1. And yeah, we'll definitely, I'll just keep the standings here and I'll watch the other games. And I'll be right back when the next round starts.
We'll start at 3 o'clock.
Well, round 3 will be starting at 3 o'clock local. That's in about 5 minutes. And we will start. I'll be back by then, so I'll be back when the next round starts. I know there's literally like no one even watching this. Not that I really care, but I mean, hey, that's that. Sorry, this is a lot later than I expected. We'll go back to live. The round has already begun, and I'll remove that banner real quick. So that's what's happening on board one. I'm hoping that we now have a much more sophisticated game. We do at the moment have we are actually having a much more sophisticated game here. We haven't exchanged pieces. Both sides seem very solid at the moment. They've castle. Let's check back up on the standings real quick. Standings right now, we do have 4 people who have 2 points. Out of these 3, I think now we do have a clear lead on which 3 are probably going to most likely win this whole thing, but we'll just see. We did replace we do now have a new player as 1 player left, so that's going to spice things up a bit. They're in for a filler. So, but they do have 4 rounds to catch up, so they can possibly get a top 3, which would be very interesting if that actually happens. So I suppose let's just look back at what's happening on the board. Nothing much has changed. I think both sides are thinking a lot, at least more than before. I think White wants to trade pawns there, and if not, attack the bishop there. Yep, Black defends. Well, it's still a double. Round 1, board 1 is actually right now the most sophisticated game at the moment. It's very interesting how both sides are trying to dominate for the center. I think there's going to be a trade there, most likely, and if not, that pawn's going to fall. So the trade must happen. Then queen take. Oh, but then there's bishop takes. Interesting. But then knight takes knight. Yep. And then pawn takes, queen takes. That's a massive trade. Unfortunately, wait, is that? That is in check, so yep. It seems White wants Black to not castle. They did castle pretty late. It seems. Hello. I don't have the camera on. You want me to put the camera on? Start cam.
Where is it streaming?
It's streaming on YouTube. On the OCSI.
Can we go look?
Sure. You can look at it if you want.
Wait, where? OCSI Chess?
The OCSI Chess Club.
Okay.
Well, that's probably going to be very interesting. I think the stream's been going on for an hour. I don't know how. If they pop up, that was going to be hilarious. If a person here is actually going to try to look, see. I think. Yep, and then the knight is trapped. Yes. Oh, by the way, that's a game. No, the game I won to be 1500. They actually blundered a pretty similar thing, except the queen wasn't protecting the knight. I actually managed to trap the knight in the end game, which was very interesting. I feel like both sides are playing at a rough. I want to say this game's probably around 13 or 1400, but it looks really good compared to the last board 1 game. They are playing very well. White has to be careful about any back rank main threats. Black is definitely overextending their pawns. So this is very interesting, personally, and that I think is a complete game changer. Like, I think a game-changing move will probably be if White accidentally blunders a knight. I think the only way you can defend it is by shifting either the queen back to either, I think that is e3 or, yep, they did e3, or I was talking about f3. That would have been very interesting. I think it's I feel like this is very interesting. I mean, this is definitely a very interesting position. Oh, now we do have one person looking up at the stream. That is very hilarious. We finally do have someone watching the stream. I think Black really wants to trade those knights. White decides to move it to the edge of the board, which is very interesting, going for some sort of check later on. That is very, very interesting. Yeah, I personally find that very, very interesting. I guess. In this position, I feel like, personally, I think White's doing better in this position, as long as the number of pieces they have is the exact same. Unless Black does definitely want to go for an endgame in this position. And then there's a fork. There's the queen fork. That's what I was talking about. There was a lot of tactics with knight g5 that works. That's game over. That's game over. That is straight up game over. That is straight up game over. That is straight up game over. Like no questions asked. That is straight up game over. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. This is just straight up game over. Black was definitely in in a very bad position, and White found the move that just won the game. I think from here will be a slow grind of White trying to grind down Black, trying to trade down all their pieces. White wants to go for an endgame now and not Black. So the tables have turned in this position. I don't know. It would be a miracle from here if Black actually manages to win. But now there's the pawns are storming for the queen. The queen can quickly escape though in this position, which is very, very interesting. Let's see if there's any other games. Let's check back up on the scoreboard real quick before we look at that. We do see that it seems that Patila is taking the lead right now. They are definitely the number one, most likely to get first anyways. They did definitely manage to get a swift win here. We do need to know the only other way is to figure the only other person who will reach 3 points is if board one has a win and not a draw, and that it seems be really interesting. In this position now, it seems White is up a lot of material. They are up a queen for, I believe that is a knight. Yeah, they are up a queen for a knight. They're trying to trade out all their pieces. They're trying to trade out all the pieces. Black now has take, and White gets a tempo with check. And if Black doesn't take, there's just queen takes pawn, and the game is over. I mean, in this position, black should resign, but I do not think that's going to happen at the moment, considering a lot of things. There's takes. Yep, there goes the trade. And we seem to have 3 people watching this at the moment. That is interesting. An hour in and 3 people in. I mean, I can't say much at the moment because I'm not any professional. I'm only like a 1500 player. But I do think black's only hope is to just stay strong and hope white actually blunders something. But I highly doubt that's the case. White can definitely trade down a lot of material here. They can also move their queen to the H file and their rook to the A file, storm down and then check the king from the sides or from diagonally below. Unless white is down on time, I cannot really see that very well. Oh, there's now 4 people watching the stream. And it's back down to 3. Haha, that is hilarious. I mean, this, I mean, it's very interesting. Board 1 is definitely very interesting. It's much more, it's a little less sophisticated than the last game we saw in round 2, but I mean, that's interesting. The standings seem to have not changed, so at least not much. They may have. That is very interesting. Hope did it update? Nope. King back. Back. There's a check. King has to go back. It is literally in check. If rook back, then white will definitely trade pieces. And it seems that the piece is going to be queen back. And there goes the pawn. There goes the pawn. There is no way. Black is completely lost here. The knight is completely gone. And then we're just straight up. Yep, this is just straight up over. Surprising that black hasn't resigned yet in this position. I definitely would have in this position. I mean, there's just rook takes. The best move might be just move the rook one move to the side back two. I believe that is d3, and then takes with all the trades, and then there's the resign. There's the resign. There we go. Let's go back to the standings real quick. I think there we go. There's the state. There goes our third. There goes our third. That was very interesting. That was definitely a very interesting game. I will come back for the next round, and we'll see how this goes. Let's see. We'll just see how this goes. I mean, we'll see how this goes. We'll wait until the next round, and I believe, considering the time, I will go check out the other games real quick. I will come back real quick. So let me just do that real quick.
No, even before that, you were completely. Because you're down like position wise, you were completely so far. And when you try
Table 3 flat.
yeah. There is 325.
So the next round starts at 3:25. But yeah, that is very interesting. I mean, that is very interesting. Okay, here we go. Next round. Everyone's definitely playing very fast. We do start out with some sort of a D4 array. We do have a D. This looks like. Wait, no, it's an E4. It's a Sicilian. This is a very interesting. There's a Taimanov Sicilian. This is a Taimanov Sicilian. Now, this is a. I don't know how much in theory they actually do know about the Taimanov Sicilian. The Taimanov Sicilian, black really wants E6 and C5. As you see on the board right there, there's a pawn on C5, and there's a pawn. And yes, now both sides are going to challenge the center there. That was not actually a good move. They needed to keep the tension there. Black actually needed to keep the tension there in the Taimanov Sicilian. Now, in the Taimanov, here's White now has a really good pressure on black. That is very good. That is very good. That is very good. There's many things I think black should definitely need to figure out to put they need to put their rook on their A rook on the C file in this position. I think white already has a good position. They do need to develop their bishop, probably either to G5 provoking H6 and go back, or they could potentially also play bishop F4. They can also play bishop F4, which is very interesting. I mean, bishop F4 is very enticing. Like bishop F4 is very enticing. It literally just grabs up the entire queen side's diagonal, like dark squares. Yes, and now in this position, white should play pawn to. White should play pawn to E5. Yes, there we go. There we see that. And now after pawn to E5, the knight has to move, and then now white has a very dominant center. They really need to somehow eliminate that pawn though for some potential bishop G4 attacks. Or of course they can take that free pawn and trade down queens. They're doing very well. They aren't wandering huge amounts of pieces. Black is definitely wandering pawns. Russia. He is definitely very good. He's 1600 rapid. So considering this is 15-0 in rapid, 1600 feet is like excellent. Probably better than I am. But I think in this position, I think black is now challenging that. I wouldn't probably play that. I would probably play like bishop G4 first. Yes, because now the pawns are now there's double pawns, and that black can actually target really well. Black can actually target those pawns. Like they do also need to. Oh, they're gonna split that. Take that split E pawn. Oh, and then there's check. The bishop from 10 miles just literally just straight up did that. Knight takes. Oh, there's 2 people watching the stream. This is interesting. I did not expect this happening. There's just like rook there. Black definitely has to play solidly. They can play rook to F7, which is very interesting. Oh, and they decided to move back instead. Sure, because they couldn't actually have never taken the bishop, because that way you get a free rook with me. So that would have been a forced trade with a tempo on the rook. Although the rook can do a reverse tempo with the bishop back. However, in this position, both sides really have to maintain pressure. I think they're already, interestingly enough, they're almost down to an endgame, which is very interesting. I mean, black is definitely down a piece. I think this is definitely going to be a win for white. This is just 100% going to be a win for white. If considering their 1600 FIDE, they'll probably not blunder any ridiculous pieces. They probably don't know there a lot of tactics either, but that's okay. I'm not very good with tactics either. So right now, there's a pawn that's hanging. Black's actually hanging a pawn at the moment. Black's rook is in pretty good position. They should probably line the rooks up at some point. Although it is attacked by the knight right now, so they probably should move it out of the way. It seems that the screen is frozen. We will fix that issue right away. All right, I think the camera's back. There we go. We have 2 people watching, which is impressive. We have been streaming for an hour and a half, so I do not expect a lot of people to actually even watch this, but I'm hoping someday this place will be known for chess, so I'm still doing this nonetheless, even though my voice is really tired at the moment. So, anyways, I'm probably going to say a lot of things that I'm going to regret and cringe later. And why am I trash talking myself? This is weird. Anyways, I think both sides are thinking a long time, especially black. I think black definitely does have some chances because their opponent is still not a GM or any master, but they are, interestingly enough, I mean, the rook's kind of in a very bad position at the moment, the one on e3. White has a very solid position. They're just going to grind it down, most likely. This is interesting. No pressure. I mean, let's analyze this position real quick. Let's analyze this position ourselves. We can black really needs to play either. The only moves black has is a rook. They have rook g3, rook g3, rook e5, and rook e8. Now, any of these moves are potentially possible. I think rook e8 kind of may have some sort of trapping ideas in the future, so that doesn't really look good. I think they should put their rook on the e5 square, mainly because it attacks the knight. But not only that, it probably would help with maintaining maintaining pressure, potentially putting the rooks on the same file by playing something like rook e8. Black should also make sure they aren't back rank mated, so probably something like h7 should happen in the future, although they do have to be careful of the light squares, especially because white still has a light square bishop. It's interesting how the Taimano of Sicilian now plays out into this very complex middle game. Not very complex, but a little hard middle game. I think this is definitely the position where both sides really have to think. I feel like, somebody definitely just placed the camera right there. That is hilarious. Anyways, let's see. let's see, board 2 seems like it finished. While they're waiting to think, the people on board 1 are probably like thinking, well, let's just check the tournament standings real quick. It seems that now a couple players have reached 3 points, have gotten 3 out of 4. The only player with 4 is definitely going to be. We may end up having around 7 if and only if there's going to be a lot of ties. Let's hope that is definitely not the case here. We do have a lot of ties for 3rd, and we really need to figure out how to end this real quick. So let's hope that situation doesn't happen, because right now, after this round, 4 people are going to have 3rd, and then they're going to compete for the 2nd and 3rd place spots, which I guess is interesting, but not really what we're looking for, considering we want to end this quickly. So anyways, it seems that wait, where did that knight go? That's interesting. Anyways, they've now are targeting that pawn. That was definitely not the pawn to push, but both people are shuffling pieces. Both players are doing really well, though. Oh, wow. Both players now, since this is an endgame, they need to move their pieces into an endgame, more of an endgame position. Black should replay their work on. Yeah, and blacks have to down pawn. They have to start pushing. Black has to start pushing their king. This is over. White is definitely going to win, considering 1600. But I mean, who knows? It may end up being some sort of like king and bishop against king mate, or not mate, but endgame, which would definitely be a draw. So you cannot say this is technically still already over. The rooks are still definitely on the board. They are heading into an endgame. This is definitely very late middle game. I mean, they could potentially take forever. Black is definitely taking forever. There is no way to. Yep. Now the king's taken. Now there's that. No, do not trade. You should have checked. No, well, you couldn't have checked, but oh yeah, you could have checked because it was the rook there. You could have checked first, then you followed by king g4, and then start attacking the king. Oh, going forward was definitely not the best. Going backwards was definitely not the best choice. They should have kept their piece on the center. That way, they could play. And now they're attacking the rook for no reason. Both sides really need to push this endgame to the final. I mean, come on. I think Black is completely lost. They're down by 4 pawns in a bishop. It seems like most boards are almost all done, it seems. I mean, you looking at the standings, it's very interesting to see how. Oh, a game just updated. This is like kind of the battle for first at the moment. I think whoever has this has a pretty decisive victory. This is very interesting. Black definitely. White definitely has to be careful with Black's rook, but is that? What is that even protected by? Is that even protected by anything? Then there's check. Wait, what is Black's land here? What was that even protected by? That is very interesting. This seems to be the last game since people are now crowding around to watch. It is very interesting to see how they're playing this. Yep, then there's that fork. Black is definitely holding on strong. I think now Black really needs to stay solid, but yes, that's probably the most likely move. Then there's probably going to be a pawn push. Oh, they didn't trade. That was very interesting. I think Black should probably resign in this position. They can't really draw this. They cannot draw this without any pieces. So yeah, I'm expecting a draw from Black anytime soon. This is going to be a 1-0 with Batilga having a very decisive 4-point victory. As we've seen, he's gotten a lot of quick wins, but this one, both sides are actually, since Black is playing very well, I think both sides are now, yeah, and I think she's just trying to hold it, but I think this is over. It's just maybe that pawn's going to be queen soon, and it's GG. There's just like rook g7 and then pawn promotes. And he grabs the queen to get ready to promote. Although there's already a queen on that side, which is hilarious. Well, I guess this is it. There's not much to say. It's just over. Yeah, just promote. We can just promote. There is no stalemate. It is not a stalemate. Black can now play like rook h4. I would have probably played like rook, something like rook h6 first to prevent Black from escaping, but I mean they can play rook h, and because yeah, that way they could have made it quicker. White could have made it a lot quicker. Why did I even saying this? I'm only even like a 1500 player. Anyways, this is just going to be a simple ladder mate. Let's check. Black has to move. No, that's an illegal move. Black's rook can literally. They could have probably made it quicker, but that was interesting. I mean, 15-0 does have a lot of pressure. And then, yes, bishop check. They could have just simply gone for a simple ladder mate, but no, that. And then this is mate. Good game. I'll put the standings on. We'll hopefully go to the next round. That is for the standing. Should update soon. We are now beginning round 5. Let me switch back to the live real quick. There we go. This is a very interesting position at the moment. They have already started. This looks like Black has done either a King's Indian or a Sicilian. White has definitely done some sort of White has done Kingside Fianchetto. This is unrated, so we're not very strict at the moment, but black can just move the rook to one side. Yep. That is not ideal because now pawn takes bishop happens, and then there's the rook. Oh, that is interesting. I was thinking pawn takes. Oh, but then there's a rook on the other side as well. That I did not notice that. Oh yeah, queen takes. The knight is definitely trapped. This looks kind of over. This looks over, but we can try. We can continue trying. Well, this is an unrated game. It's very interesting to see how this is going on. There's 2 people watching, so I'm still going to continue commentating. White has definitely put their bishop on. Black has definitely put their bishop on a very good square. Knight attacks bishop, taking a pawn at the same time. I feel like the queen can just move off. The queen can just slide to a safe square. I think this is definitely not a huge threat. Now they're forking the rook and not the rook. I meant they're forking the pawn and the knight. Very interesting. Unfortunately, I cannot see the clock very well. Sorry about the very bad camera quality over there. This is definitely very interesting. I think if Patil wins again, he's definitely gonna. I feel like he's just gonna roll this over and get first place for sure. The rating here is not. The games here aren't very good. A lot of people here came today because they're passionate about chess, and we're very thankful for them. There's another watcher. That's interesting. So they developed their queen. I think both sides should move their rook. Oh, yep, they just did that. And then there's immediately rook takes, lining up their pieces. I think the F rook that black has should definitely start moving over to the rook should move to more of an it's like the E file or the D file or possibly even the C file, whichever file is the most open. I cannot see very well from here. It feels it's very interesting how this is, and it seems white has it seems that white has resigned in this position. Very swift, very easy, very interesting. Now let's look back up to the standings real quick. Now our stud has 5. That was a very swift victory. Now it's 5. It's literally 5, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, a bunch of 3s. I think there's either going to be 1 or 2 more players having a 4, but Rashad Patil has a very high chance of winning this whole thing, which was already expected from before the tournament. But this ended up very, very interesting. I love how this ended up being. This inning so far has a clear lead, and then there's a bunch of people competing for second or third. We may have a tiebreaker round if there's a lot of people score. We do not have the bull shove or any other tiebreaker at the moment. I will now go and spectate other games quietly. So I will leave you guys to whatever shenanigans you are doing, and so I'll just.
We'll start the next round at 4:10. Start the next round at 4:10. I didn't have the board on because I couldn't keep up with the pace. I know, right? Every time that happens, like, isn't this supposed to be rapid? I usually do it slower than this. Or, yeah, 3
Thank you.
Okay, we're back. Sorry, my bad. We started pretty late. I mean, White is definitely dominating this position. That would have been a resign if it would have looked like an accident. But yeah, anyways, let's go back. Okay, in this position, both sides castle the king side, and wait, isn't that a straight up? Oh, because it's protected by the knight. I see. I think Black should right now stack the queen on top of the rook, rook, and then they play. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. They should probably bring their h rook open to the e file as well. The e file as well. Black also can fork, but that's a very useful move. Not useful, I mean useless move. Let's see. I mean, neither side seems to have bishops anymore, so you don't have to worry about diagonals too much. And I see that Black has played that. White has played that. Let me zoom in real quick. It looks like a straight up. That looks like a straight up free rook. Is this not straight up a free rook? What is it defended by? Let's see. I mean, they could probably push, like, isn't the, oh, it was White's turn, interesting. And then, I guess, I think Black really needs to move that. Yeah, very inactive. So every time in chess, when you ever wonder what you should do in these kind of positional games, you really should go for a threat if you can, or more importantly, what is more important than threats is straight up development. So they should move their rook from the Black should definitely move their rook from the a file down to the e file, pressure that knight. But now Black has threats of its own. I mean, White is just gonna straight up bulldoze this. I mean, Black can technically trade here and ruin the structure, but now the rook is straight up in a very good position to escape. I mean, that was the most random knight move. They should have definitely moved the rook. I think white now needs to move their other rook as well, the rook from the A. Of course, that is also a valid move. Let's check. And I believe that traps... That does not trap the knight. Oh yeah, I missed that move. Because... I completely missed that move only because I can't really see the board very well. I mean, maybe we should have gotten like some sort of automatic for number 1, board 1. But I don't know where to buy that, so oh well. That's that. There's only like one person watching. I don't know if this is even worth streaming sometimes, but why am I contemplating my own sanity? Anyways, they played a rook, hoping now this forces a trade if white wants it. I mean, black can definitely move their knight out of the way, but yeah. I mean, that pawn is definitely going to be a target. Both sides are pretty equal in this position, which is very interesting. The goal of here is to open up, but I think, yeah, and then check, and then king attacks knight. This is good for black, considering they both sides have not activated their rooks, which is terribly disappointing. I mean, they can't. I think black can definitely... I need to zoom that up real quick. That looks like a hanging pawn. It just straight up looks like a hanging pawn. They could isolate their pawns. There's really no immediate checks that white can do other than knight E whatever. I do not know what that move does. It would have probably been better to play it on the E file, because then white can't move the rook to the E file, mainly because of the fact that they can't. Oh, that is a minor threat. They can actually just straight up take that pawn and literally just... Yeah, that pawn was hanging like forever. Yep, and then black's plan is to gobble up a pawn. Black should push their pawn up. So they should push their rook up, trade the rooks, and go for an endgame. Although white is definitely up a singular pawn. But then there's just... No, that doesn't work because of check. Yeah, there's check, and then there's just going to keep gobbling up all their pawns. That was a blunder. Pawn E5 was definitely a blunder by black. I think this is a complete win. He's going to definitely win the whole tournament. There's no way anyone else is going to catch up, considering this is the final round. Even if he somehow loses this round, he actually wins the whole tournament, as he's won every single match so far. I think I'm surprised they didn't take them. I mean, I will probably play late. I would probably maintain the rook. I would probably move the knight out of a different position. Black's king is in a pretty good position. Their knight's not exactly in a great position. Yes, white attempts to deflect the king away and back, but instead they go forward. This may be handy in a pawn endgame. There's another check, curating his force, and black needs to defend their 2 pawns. Oh, and they're immediately going for mate. I see it. They're immediately going for mate. Is white gonna see it? Is white gonna see it? Is white gonna see it? They can deflect it by pawn takes, or they can also deflect that by doing that. Yes, that is a very good move. Now the king must move over over to the other side of the board. The only valid move is king to, those, either that or the king had to move to the d file. Rook, black should go, white could potentially go for a rook trade, but then they'll also lose that pawn, and both sides would have equal set of chances of winning. White definitely has a winning endgame here, only because of the fact that they have one extra pawn. White is hoping to trade rooks. It seems that this is going to be an equal endgame. Both sides are playing very, very well. 1600 against 1200, considering that it's a very good endgame. White really needs to activate their king now. And this would just be a race to the finish. This would just be a race. This would just straight up be a race. Or they could potentially run out of time. Let's check the standings meanwhile. Let's see. Mihoka has a 5-point. Patil needs to either draw or win. Either one is fine for him to win the whole thing. Kaio is definitely going to get first out of the over 19 division. And that's going to be interesting. Anyways, let's go back. Oh, interesting. Black did it en passant. Didn't Black not en passant that? That was interesting. I may have to look back at that later. That was a surprising good position to do an en passant if that were the case. But if that's not the case, then that's unfortunate. Now, White can start moving their king all the way to the pawn on the H. They can move their H pawn. They can move to the H pawn. This is a very good game so far. Black needs to gobble up those pawns, push their pawns forward. They also need to calculate the triangle. But that pawn is straight up free. Black can literally just gobble. Yep, there we go. They'll push. King has to go back. King there. King has to go back. King takes pawn. King has to go back. The king goes back. King goes back. This is a very intense game. King G. Yep. Now both sides are going to start pushing pawns. This is a really intense pawn race. King has to go there. This is a very intense pawn race. But White, in the end, is just definitely going to win because now they're just going to push that pawn. King has to go there, and then now there's just pawn push, queen promotion. White wins. Very nice. We actually made it to the end game. That is surprising. We made it to the end game. We made it to the end game, boys. White can just go check. Or, take that pawn. And then that pawn will fall as well. That was a very good game. They're just gonna promote. They're just gonna straight up. And then they're just gonna do it. They're just gonna go queen takes. They're just gonna go immediately. They could go for either the killer box mate or the ladder mate. Which ones are they? They seem to go for the killer box mate. They seem to go for the killer box. But who knows? Then now it seems they changed their plan to back rack. Now it seems what kind of mate? Oh, they changed it to ladder, and that is game over. 6. That is full points by Patil. Impressive. Let's go back to the standings real quick. And we seem to have a clear winner, like clear first top three. For third for the under 19, we still need to figure out who is going to do that. So we're gonna have to do a 5. We're gonna have to do a 5. We're just gonna have to do 5 zone. I think all of them are going to have to do a final 5-0 matchup. They're gonna have to do it bracket style. 2-5-0, 2 5-0s, 5-0 against 5-0, 5-0 against. There's gonna be from now. There's just gonna be 2 sets of 5-0s done on both sides. Then there will be 2-1. Then the winners of those will continue doing the 2-0. Will continue doing the 5-0. And if not, if it's still somehow a tie, you have a 1-0. Well, I will go and check what the others are up to. So I'll see you later. it seems we have to end the stream because we're not going to do live stream the 1 minute. So I'll see you sometime. Ciao.